Hey guys, it's Jonathan Wyatt, and if you watched my last video, then you know that I was just recently hired to be a character performer at Walt Disney World. So today I just kind of wanted to talk about the character performer audition process, as well as my personal experience with it, and then at the end of the video I'm going to give some tips and tricks for anybody who's thinking about auditioning. So whenever you first get to the audition, you're going to be sorted into groups of around 50 or 60 people and taken into the first room where you'll learn the first dance. So the first dance is super simple. It's basically more like a march. It's just like, I think like 3 8 counts and just a couple little turns. The way that you're going to perform the first dance for her is they're going to line everybody up in about like 4 rows, and then you're going to go 4 at a time to perform the dance for her, and you're kind of like marching towards her. It's kind of hard to explain. You'll understand a lot easier whenever you're like at the audition, but basically you will not be just like dancing by yourself. There'll be 3 other people who are dancing at the same time, and again, it's super easy, so you should not worry about it. After the first dance, they're going to have everybody sit down, and she's going to call out the numbers of people who are moving on to the next round, and then if she doesn't call out your number, then you are free to go. So once you get into the second room is whenever you start waiting. After a little bit, they're going to have the dance instructor come back in, and she's going to teach you how to animate, and she's also going to teach you a more complicated dance. So I didn't really understand what exactly animation was. Basically what it is they're going to give you like a scenario, and then you have to, without talking, act it out and convey like a story with your movements. So then after they've taught you the dance and how to animate, they're going to have everybody leave the room and bring people back in around groups of like 6 based on their height. So at my audition, they started with the shortest people, and then they went up to the tallest people, which was me in the last group. Once they call you back in, the recruiter will be already in the room, and then you'll just have to do your animation and your dance for the recruiter. After you've done the dance and the animation for the recruiter, then you are free to go. But if they really like you or are considering you for like a specific role or like a special role, they may ask you to hang around a little bit afterwards for like a 3rd round. It's not really like a 3rd round. They'll just take like maybe some extra measurements of you, or take a couple more pictures of you, or teach you like a special dance depending on what role they're considering you for. Okay, so now I'm gonna just kind of talk about my experience with it and how exactly the audition went for me. So a couple weeks before I actually got to the audition, I joined a Facebook page that had other people who were going to my audition. I went to the Atlanta audition on March 8th. And then through the Facebook page, I found a GroupMe, and I plugged into the GroupMe, and I started talking to a lot of people who are going to my audition, and it was just like such a great way to like really like connect with people who were gonna be at the audition with me. So me and a few people from the GroupMe decided to meet up before our audition for breakfast. So we met up at I think like 8:30 at Chick-fil-A to just like grab a quick bite to eat, and then we were gonna head over to the audition together. None of us really wanted to get to the audition any later than like 9:30, like that was like the absolute latest that we wanted to get there, so we were all pretty much on the same page because we really wanted to get there early. So by the time that we all got to the audition, it was probably around like 9:30, and there was already a super long line outside. So I definitely recommend getting there early. They tell you not to arrive more than like 30 minutes before, but like a lot of people do it, and they also start letting people in super early as well. I'm pretty sure by like 10:40, like they were already like letting people in. So then once I got into the room, like I said before, they just taught us like their really simple little dance, and I was so convinced that I was gonna be cut in the first round because like I cannot dance. Like literally whenever I tell you that I cannot dance, I cannot dance. I have never had any dance training like in my life at all. So after we had performed the dance for the recruiter, me and my friends like sat down, and we were all like super nervous because we wanted to make it through so bad. We were like holding hands, we were waiting for our numbers to be called. Whenever she said your number, you were supposed to just like say here, and most people whenever she said their number, they were just like, oh, here, you know, but whenever she called my number, I was like, here, like I was so relieved. So then after that, we moved into the second room, and then we just waited there for like a really long time. I was in like the first group, and so after we got in there, we just like waited for a while. It was really fun actually. Like I got to engage with some of the people that I met in the group chat, and we were all just kind of talking. And honestly, the people that you're gonna meet at like the character performer audition, and just I guess working at Disney World in general, are just like the best kind of people that you could ever meet. Like they're all just so like friendly, and they're all just so like upbeat, and they're all just so like amazing. Like literally the people that I met at the audition are some of the friendliest people that I think I've ever met in my life. It was such a blessing. Oh, and I forgot to mention earlier, whenever you're in the second room, they will come back in and take your measurement to find out your Disney height, and they will also take a headshot of you. So basically, your Disney height is whatever height they measure you as. Disney kind of has its own like measuring system kind of. And so they measured me at 5'11", but I'm usually 6'1". And for a lot of people, that's how it is. A lot of people, their Disney height is just a little bit shorter than the regular height. Sometimes it's the same as their regular height, but Disney just has its own like system, I guess, that like all of its costumes are based off of. And so they need really specific information for how like tall you are and things like that to see if you can fit into their costumes. So then after they took our measurements and our headshot, they began teaching us the animation and the more complicated dance. So in my audition, the scenario for the animation was you're a toy maker and then you transform into the toy that you were making. So I had gone in there and I was like, if I get the scenario, because I'd heard that it was a really popular scenario, so I went in thinking, if I get this scenario, I am going to be a toy soldier. I thought that would be something like really easy that I could do, something that would be kind of fun. And then the dance instructor was like, now make sure that you're really creative. I don't want to see you be like a tin soldier or something like that. And I was just like, trigger. Like it called me out, like literally took exactly what I was planning on doing and be like, yeah, no, don't do that. And so I was shook and I had to completely like think of something new, like off the top of my head. And I was like, okay, I have to be really, really creative, because she said like no tin soldiers. She also said no ballerinas. If you're like a girl and you were thinking about being like a little like ballerina doll, she said don't do that, do something like creative. So I was like, okay, I have to be really, really creative with this. What's something that's like really imaginative? What's something that like nobody else will think of? And so I thought of a good idea would be Play-Doh. It went about as good as you think that it would go, being Play-Doh, which is not good. It went like this. Yeah, I know, that's awful. So I did that for the first practice round and I was like, oh no, this is awful, I have to do something different. And so I was like, okay, let me think of something creative again, but something that like is easier to do than Play-Doh. And so I thought a good idea would be to do the like toy monkey that like smashes the cymbals together.
Hello, this is Editing Jonathan, and realizing that I forgot to tell you guys something. The dance instructor also mentioned that she really wanted us to tell a story with our animation. So here in a second, you will see me as the toy maker fixing something on the toy, and then as the toy having my arms fall out of alignment and then have the toy maker fix them. Okay, sorry, thanks. Back to the video.
And that one went something like this. So I definitely think that that one was like a lot better than like Play-Doh, like for sure. And so I definitely felt like a lot more confident about that one. And then they taught us the dance. So whenever she taught us like the first few steps of the dance, I was like, okay, you know, this is definitely a lot more difficult than the first one, but like I kind of got it. I was like, okay, I think this will be like all right. And then she taught us the second little part, and I was like, okay, this is getting like a little bit more difficult, but I think like it's still like coming along. I think I'll be all right. And then she taught us a third little section, and I was like, I need a lot more practice because this is not going well. But I was like, just trying to like follow people, and I was trying to like watch other people and see what they were doing. And then she was like, okay, and now it's time for the next part. And I was like, next part. So then she taught us that part, and I was just like, I have no idea what's going on. And then she was like, okay, now it's time for the next part. And she was like, okay, now it's time for the next part. And she kept adding like to it, and I was just like, I'm not gonna get it. I was so committed that I was gonna learn this dance. I walked up, like it's like a crowded room. I walked through the crowd right up in front of the dance instructor and literally did the dance right in front of her. And she like saw me coming, and she kind of was like, oh, you coming up to the front, eh? And I was like, yeah, no, definitely, I gotta learn this. And I went up there and made a complete fool out of myself because I did not know a single one of those moves directly in front of the dance instructor. But it's okay, because she saw that I needed help. So after she had let us practice the dance a few times, they let us go out, and then, like I said before, they brought us in groups of 6 based on height. I saw this one girl while we were learning the dance who was like killing it, like incredible dancer. And so I walked up to her and I was like, hey, can you help me? Like, you were amazing. I am hopeless. Like, please help me. And she was so sweet about it. Her name's Danielle. Shout out to Danielle. You like saved me. And she just like walked me through it and like tried to teach it to me. And I was so thankful for that. And then after that, I went and talked to my friend Whitney, and she really helped me too. Shout out to you. And they both like just were like walking me through it and trying to like teach it to me. And finally, like I thought, okay, you know what? I think I like kind of have this. I think I'll be all right. And they called in my group, which was the final group. And we were all like tall, lanky, like awkward white guys, like cannot dance. My animation went really, really well. I did it just like I had planned. I made sure and waited to do the thing where my arms go off until like the recruiter was looking at me, because I wanted to make sure that like she saw that my thing had a story, you know? So we started the dance, and I did like the first like 8 count all right, and then I had like a spin and I turned around and immediately forgot everything. I completely messed up the entire dance. Like I did like none of it correctly. But what made me feel a little bit better is whenever I was like looking around the room at like the other guys who were doing the dance, literally all of them are doing something completely different. Like none of us are even doing the same thing. And so we were all like completely messing up, and it was almost just like funny at how like bad we all were. But the entire time I made sure that my movements were sharp and that I had a big smile on my face, because that's something that she said was really, really important too. No matter what happened, just make sure that you smile through the whole thing and that your movements are really, really sharp. And so I did the whole dance completely wrong, but I had a big smile on my face the whole time. At least my wrong moves were sharp, so I was like, okay, and that has to get me somewhere. So then after my dance, I was like, okay, so my animation went really well, but my dance completely messed up, so I was just kind of nervous. But then I actually did get asked to stay around for the 3rd round. All the 3rd round was for me was really just, she took a couple extra measurements of me and kind of told me what like type of characters I was being considered for. Okay, so now that I took you through my process and how it went for me, I'm gonna give you a couple tips and tricks of how I think that you can be successful with yours. So my first tip and my biggest tip is join the Facebook group and join the GroupMe. I cannot tell you how beneficial this was for me. It was such a relief to know that like I had people there that I could like talk to and who were nervous like me and were going through like kind of the same thing. I absolutely feel that the GroupMe is part of the reason that I actually did get hired as a character performer. I'm just so thankful for all of the friendships that I made in that group, and all of the like wonderful people that really just like helped me through the audition. So I absolutely recommend joining the GroupMe and making those connections, and I really recommend meeting up before your audition as well, because that was super beneficial for me. My second tip is to stand out. Do whatever you have to do to make sure that they notice you. I went in there and I was like, I am going to get noticed. They're gonna see me. I went in a bright red shirt. I went in with super big hair, and I know that like my hair is already like big right now, but it was like a lot bigger. Like it was huge, and I was like, y'all gonna notice me today. I also wanted to make sure to like establish a connection with all of the like workers there. Like as soon as I went into the first room, I saw that one of the workers was trying to set up a table, and so I walked over to her and I was like, hey, can I help you like set up this table? And I was just like establishing that connection like right off the bat, make sure that like they noticed me, make sure that they saw me, make sure that they knew that I was there. And then like every time that the instructor or the recruiter would talk, I would be all like perky, and I would just be like up and listening, you know, and like super aware and acting like I was interested to make sure, well, I was interested, but like making sure that they knew that I was interested, so that I could maybe like catch their eye, because there are I think there are about like 300 people at my audition. They say around the country they have about like 2,000 people audition, and they only hire around 200. So I knew that it's super competitive and that I had to make myself stand out. I had to catch their eye. My second big tip is do not care what other people think. You have to understand that this is a Disney audition. Disney and Disney parks entertainment in general is super big, super over the top. You have to understand that like that's what they're looking for. They're looking for you to be big, and they're looking for you to be animated. And sometimes you might think you look like a dork. I definitely knew that I looked like a dork doing my animation that you just saw of the monkey. Yeah, I looked like a dork, but that's what they're looking for. They want people who are not afraid to go out of their comfort zone and not afraid to really just like show off. And so I just showed up, and I knew I really can't worry if anybody is judging me or what anybody is thinking about me. I have to go and put my best foot forward and do the best that I can. Everybody there is just as nervous as you. Everybody there is trying just as hard as you. So they're really not going to be judging you, because they understand that in this business you really do have to be huge, and that's just really what they're looking for. So just really don't worry about people judging you, and don't let that hold you back from reaching your best potential at the audition. Another big tip, which kind of ties into what I just mentioned, is be big. They really are looking for big animated people. They want to make sure that you can be doing something at one end of Main Street USA and have someone stand at the complete opposite end and know exactly what you're doing without you speaking. If you're anything like me and have literally no dance experience whatsoever, then I definitely recommend trying to learn a little bit about the dances before you go there. I found a few YouTube videos of people doing the dances, or just kind of like showing some of the moves that they had in the dances. And I asked one of my friends who does musical theater, who is a good dancer, to help me kind of learn those from the videos. I was gonna post a video of me doing the dance for my audition in this video, but I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to do that, and I didn't want to get in trouble before I even like start working there. So I'm not gonna do that in this video, but there definitely are videos out there. Just search for them and find them, and they were so beneficial for me, and I know they'll be beneficial for you. My final tip is to really just have fun with it. I mean, it's an audition, and it is serious, and it's for a job, and it's a big deal, but like I mentioned before, the people that you're going to meet there are just the most incredible people that you will ever meet. All of the staff that were working there were so incredible and so sweet. It's just such a fun and like friendly environment. Don't let the pressure like stress you out or anything like that. Just make sure that you go and enjoy it. So that's all I have for you guys today. I really hope that this was beneficial for you if you are thinking about auditioning to be a character performer, or I hope it was entertaining for you if you're just interested in Walt Disney World Entertainment. If you're someone who's thinking about auditioning and you have any questions about how the process works that maybe I didn't cover in this video, then definitely comment down below and I will try to reply to you and answer any questions that you might have. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to give it a big thumbs up down below. Subscribe and hit that bell icon so you can be notified every time I post. And make sure to follow all of my social media accounts, which are going to be listed down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!